Series 4 Lessons 11-15 Vertical Bar, Elon Musk's Future-Proof Thinking. Why follow the crowd when you can shape the future? Elon Musk didn't just disrupt industries, he rewrote the rules. These next 5 lessons will challenge how you build, create, and think, especially if you're ready to stop following and start leading. What if your greatest success isn't about chasing what already exists but building what doesn't? We are often taught to find our place in the world, to compete for a slice of a pre-existing pie. We study the market, analyze the competition, and try to build a slightly better version of what's already there. This is the path of incremental improvement. It's safe, it's predictable, and it's a recipe for mediocrity. But true visionaries, the ones who reshape industries and define eras, operate from a different playbook entirely. They don't look at the world as it is, they envision the world as it could be. Take Elon Musk. His story isn't just about wealth, it's a masterclass in building the impossible. He didn't become a titan of industry by playing it safe or optimizing an existing model. He became who he is by pursuing a future that he, and almost no one else, believed in. When he talked about reusable rockets or a world powered by electric vehicles, the establishment didn't just disagree, they laughed. He was dismissed as a dreamer, a charlatan, a man disconnected from reality. But his reality was simply set in a different time frame. He was building for tomorrow while everyone else was fighting over yesterday. This ability to build for the future isn't an innate gift reserved for a select few, it's a skill. It's a mindset. And over the course of this journey, we're going to deconstruct it into 5 powerful principles that you can apply to your own life, your career, and your ambitions. These aren't just tips, they are fundamental shifts in perspective that could radically transform the trajectory of your next 10 years, turning you from a passenger into the architect of your own future. Which brings us to our foundational lesson. Lesson 11. Build the future you want to live in. Let's rewind to 2004. The automotive world was dominated by the roar of V8 engines. Gas was relatively cheap, and car culture celebrated size and power. Electric vehicles weren't just unpopular, they were a punchline. A failed experiment symbolized by the crushed remains of GM's EV1. The industry consensus was clear. EVs were slow, had no range, and nobody wanted them. They were building for a world that loved gas stations and oil changes. But Musk saw a different future. He didn't ask, how can we make a slightly better electric car? He asked, what does the perfect car look like? His answer was a vehicle that was not just sustainable but superior in every metric. Faster acceleration, better handling, safer, and seamlessly integrated with technology. He envisioned a world not of compromise but of advancement. He didn't try to compete with Ford or GM on their terms. He created a new game entirely. This is the essence of building for what's next. It requires ignoring the deafening chorus of what is and focusing on the quiet whisper of what if. It means you stop looking at your competitors and start looking at the horizon. So ask yourself, what is the future you want to live in? What is the fundamental truth in your industry, your art, or your life that everyone accepts without question? That is your starting point. That is your opportunity. Don't just aim to be a new player in an old game, invent a new one. The world is full of people maintaining the present. It's waiting for you to build the future. Start building that, not what already exists. The phrase "kill your darlings" is a brutal piece of advice, often given to writers. It means deleting the most beautiful sentence if it doesn't serve the story. For a visionary like Elon Musk, the darlings are multi-million-dollar projects and revolutionary designs, and he is ruthless in killing them. Take the original vision for the Model 3 production line. Musk called it the Alien Dreadnought, a factory so automated it would be a machine that builds the machine. It was a beautiful, futuristic idea. It was his darling, but it failed. The over-automation created bottlenecks and slowed production to a crawl, so he killed it. He ripped out complex robots and brought back humans, admitting his own hubris. He chose progress over his pet project. This isn't a one-time event. He has consistently demonstrated this brutal objectivity. When early Falcon 9 upper stages were deemed not reliable enough, the entire design was scrapped midstream for a more robust version. At Neuralink, a complex surgical robot concept he personally advocated for was abandoned for a simpler, more practical design. He doesn't let his ego get in the way of the physics. This is the ultimate lesson in intellectual honesty. We fall in love with our own ideas, tying our identity to them. But attachment is the enemy of effectiveness. The goal isn't to be right, the goal is to get it right. So find the part of your project you love most. Now ask yourself with cold, hard honesty, is it truly working? If not, you know what you have to do. The goal is not perfection in a single part, but progress for the whole. In 2008, SpaceX was on the brink of extinction. 3 launches of their Falcon 1 rocket had ended in spectacular failure. The money was gone. Musk had poured his entire fortune into the company, with only enough left for one final attempt. The constraint wasn't just a tight budget, it was the razor's edge between a galaxy-faring future and total bankruptcy. That extreme pressure didn't crush them, it focused them, forging a new kind of engineering. With no money for expensive consultants or traditional components, they had to invent. They had to be smarter and more resourceful than anyone in rocketry. Every calculation was checked, every component scrutinized for cost and simplicity. That pressure gave birth to the lean, reusable rocket philosophy that defines SpaceX today. On September 28, 2008, the Falcon 1 flew perfectly, and the world changed. This principle is universal. Think of the Apollo 13 mission. The constraint? Use only the materials on board, duct tape and plastic bags, to build a life-saving air filter. The constraint didn't block the solution, it revealed it. We are taught to see constraints as walls, but they are guardrails. They eliminate the paralysis of infinite choice and force you down the path of ingenuity. Your limited budget, your tight deadline, these are not your enemies. They are your most powerful creative tools. Embrace them. Let them sharpen your mind, because when your back is against the wall, you don't just find a way out, you invent one. Our 14th lesson is a direct assault on the single biggest killer of great ideas, the obsession with perfection. Elon Musk is known for his relentless pursuit of quality, but what separates him from countless dreamers is that he understands a crucial truth. You cannot perfect something that doesn't exist. He launches. Consider the first ever Tesla Roadster. By today's standards, it was deeply flawed. It was built on another company's chassis, had a clunky 2-speed transmission that often failed, and its battery pack was a complex, hand-assembled beast. Many critics pointed out its shortcomings, its compromises, its imperfections. But it did one thing that mattered more than anything else. It shipped. It got on the road. It proved that an electric car could be desirable, fast, and viable. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was a stake in the ground, a declaration that the future of transportation was electric, and Tesla was going to be the one to build it. This philosophy is even more stark at SpaceX. Their first 3 rocket launches were catastrophic failures. 3 explosions that would have bankrupted and demoralized almost any other company. But for Musk's team, each fireball was not an end, but a data point. They didn't retreat to the drawing board for years to build a perfect rocket. They analyzed the telemetry, recovered the wreckage, found the flaw, fixed it, and launched again. They learned faster from failure in the real world than they ever could have in a simulator. This is the essence of the famous Silicon Valley mantra, often attributed to LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman: if you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you launched too late. That embarrassment is a badge of honor. It signifies that you prioritized action over endless deliberation. You chose real-world feedback over the echo chamber of your own assumptions. Excellence isn't a state you achieve before you begin, it's a result you forge in the fire of continuous improvement. So the lesson is clear: ship your product, launch your project, publish your work. Then, listen with humility, learn with intensity, and evolve with relentless speed. Now for our 15th lesson, a principle that explains how Musk has repeatedly shattered entire industries. Embrace the power of being an outsider. Before Tesla, Elon Musk had zero experience in the century-old automotive industry. Before SpaceX, he had never worked in aerospace. To the established players, he was a novice, an amateur who didn't understand the complexities, the heritage, the unwritten rules. But his ignorance of their rules was his greatest weapon. Insiders, the so-called experts, often suffer from a kind of cognitive blindness. They know all the reasons why a new idea won't work. They've been trained to follow a specific playbook, to respect the existing boundaries. Their expertise becomes a cage, preventing them from seeing solutions that lie just outside the conventional path. Musk didn't know the rules, so he wasn't bound by them. He came in and asked fundamentally naive questions that exposed the industry's bloated inefficiencies. Instead of asking, how do we build a rocket the way Boeing does, but slightly cheaper, he asked, what are the fundamental material constituents of a rocket, and what do they cost on the open market? He discovered the raw materials were only 2% of the final price. The other 98% was process, bureaucracy, and the refusal to reuse the hardware. He didn't accept the dogma that rockets had to be disposable. To an outsider, throwing away a $60 million machine after one use is insane. To the insiders, it was just the cost of doing business. This is the outsider's advantage. It's not about being naive, it's about being unburdened. It's the ability to see the forest for the trees, to question the unquestionable, and to build from the ground up based on logic and physics, not tradition and consensus. It's a superpower available to anyone willing to challenge the status quo. So there you have it. From thinking with first principles, to embracing an insane work ethic, to focusing on signal over noise, and now, to shipping before you're ready and leveraging the power of being an outsider. These 5 lessons are more than just interesting facts about Elon Musk. They are a transfer of power. They are yours now. Think of them not as simple advice, but as a strategic playbook for achieving the extraordinary in your own life, your own career, your own ambitions. But a playbook with this much power can be overwhelming. Don't try to implement all 5 rules tomorrow. That's a path to burnout, not breakthrough. The key is to start with one. Just one. Which of these principles speaks to the biggest obstacle in your path right now? Are you stuck in analysis paralysis, needing to finally ship your project? Or are you an expert in your field, realizing you need to adopt an outsider's mindset to find a real breakthrough? Identify the one lesson that hits you the hardest, the one that feels the most uncomfortable, yet the most necessary. That's your starting point. Make it your mantra for the next 30 days. Write it on your mirror, set it as your phone's wallpaper, integrate it until it becomes second nature. Then, and only then, come back for the next one. We want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell us which lesson you're choosing to build on, and why. Your declaration is a commitment, and this community is here to support you on that journey. And once you've mastered that, get ready, because this was just the beginning. Series 5 is coming soon, and we're going even deeper. If this series was about the what, the external strategies for success, Series 5 is about the how. We'll deconstruct the internal operating system. How does he manage his time to the minute to run multiple revolutionary companies? What specific mental models does he use to solve impossible problems? And how does he cultivate the psychological resilience to withstand public attacks, financial crises, and catastrophic failures? We are diving into Elon's next 5 rules for extraordinary thinking. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the next chapter of your playbook is about to be written.